Hello all my yarny friends, I'm Sara Sach. Welcome back to my crochet channel. Today's video I'm going to show you how to crochet the Cozy Granny Beanie hat. This is the perfect hat for spring, summer, and fall, and even winter if you live in some warmer climates. It's cozy and warm, but not too warm because it lets the breeze through in the granny stitch portion. Isn't that adorable? Now the yarn I used is puzzle yarn from Premier, but we'll talk more about yarns when we get a little farther on in the video. I really love how this turned out. I love the colors of this one, and yeah, it's just a beautiful, beautiful hat. And just because I added some pretty flowers to it doesn't mean that the guys won't want to wear one also. Just leave the flowers off, and it makes a nice hat for the guys and the girls. Just make it in their favorite colors. Now you can find the complete pattern on my blog, and as always, I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. All right, let's talk about supplies. Now this hat is made with Premier Puzzle. The color is called Hopscotch, and I've got it rolled up on here. It is a bulky number 5, and it is 100% acrylic. And you're going to need approximately 3.5 ounces to make the hat. Now, another good yarn to use for this particular hat is this anti-pilling bamboo chunky, also by Premier. It's 80% acrylic and 20% rayon bamboo, and it has a nice shininess to it. Either one of these, Premier Puzzle or the anti-pilling bamboo chunky, make this hat really, really nice. I love this hat, like I said, because it's a great transitional hat, because it isn't super warm, but it's warm enough for early spring mornings or maybe fall mornings. All right, so you're going to need approximately 3.5 ounces of a super bulky number 5. All right, now we're stitching up today using our J hook, which is a 6mm crochet hook. You need a needle and a pair of scissors. You can also add a button or a pin or some kind of embellishment to it if you want to. You can also add a pom-pom if you want to. We're going to start at the top of the hat at the crown and work our way down. All right, so we're going to begin with a slip knot. We're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to join this into a circle. And we'll make that stay knot. Now, if you prefer to use the magic circle or another method of making your beginning circle, you certainly can. We're going to go in, pull up a loop, and chain 3. So this chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, and now we're going to stitch 9 double crochets in this circle, so we have a total of 10 double crochets. You'll also notice that I'm stitching over my tail of yarn. That way I can close up this hole in the top of my hat. We don't want the top of our hat to have that hole in it. All right, I wasn't counting, so let's count how many stitches I did. Here's our chain 3, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 double crochets. And remember, we're counting that chain 3 as our first. We're going to join to that chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. Now I'm just going to turn this over and gently pull on that string, close that hole up. I'm going to grab my needle here, and I'm just going to go ahead and weave this in. You can do this at the end of your project if you want to. I just really like getting it over with, then I don't have to worry about it. Whoops, guess I'll try that again. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to go in and out Making sure I give it a little bit of a pull and go back and forth. I just love this yarn. It is really wonderful to work with. All right, grab those scissors and clip that off. And now I don't have to worry about that. It's all done. So for round 1, we have 10 double crochets. We join to our chain 3 and chain 3. All right, let's do row 2 or round 2. We're going to double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3, and then we're going to place 2 double crochets in each of those double crochets around. 1 and 2. So in round 1 we had 10 double crochets, and on round 2 we're going to have 2. Now remember, when you're working on something like this, you are working around in a row. Your row is going around, and it can be called a row or a round, so don't let that confuse you. All right? So I'm going to stitch 2 double crochets in each of my double crochets around and join back to my chain 3. So we stitched 1 double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3, and then 2 double crochets in each stitch around. So for row 2, we have 20 double crochets. We're going to join to our chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. And now for row 3, we're going to just repeat what we did on row 2. We're going to stitch a double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3, and then 2 double crochets in each of those stitches around. So 2 double crochets in each of the double crochets, working all the way around. Then we'll join back to our chain 3. And so again, we stitched a double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3, and then we stitched 2 double crochets in each of our double crochets around, so we have 40 double crochets. We're going to join to our chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. Now, for row 4, we're going to double crochet in the next 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. So that gives us 3 double crochets. Our chain 3 counted as our first, and then we stitch 2 more. Then in the next stitch, we're going to stitch 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. And so our repeat for row 4 is 1 double crochet in the next 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then 2 double crochets in the next, 1 and 2. 1 double crochet in the next 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 2 double crochets in the next, 1 and 2. And on this row, you're going to notice that it's going to start curling down. It's going to start forming the shape of the top of our hat. All right, so we're going to repeat 1 double crochet in the next 3, 1, 2, and 3, and 2 double crochets in the next double crochet, and we'll repeat this 3 and 2 all the way around and join back to our chain 3. So I repeated that all the way around, 3 and 2. We're going to join to that first chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. And so for row 4, we have 50 double crochets. Now for row 5, we're going to be doing something a little bit similar. We're going to double crochet in the next 3, and since we have 1 chain 3 there at the beginning, that's going to give us 4 double crochets, because again that chain 3 counts as our first. And then we'll stitch 2 double crochets in the next. 1 and 2. And then we'll repeat this around. 1 double crochet in the next 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And 2 double crochets in the next. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 2 double crochets in the next. So we're doing 4 and 2. All right, and again, you're going to notice the top of your hat is curling down a little bit. And this is our last row of solid crochet, and then we're going to begin our granny stitch style stitches. All right, so for row 5, we're repeating 1 double crochet in the next 4, 2 in the next, all the way around again, and join back to our chain 3. So I have repeated 1 double crochet in the next 4 and 2 in the next, all the way around. So you're going to have 60 double crochets. We're going to join to our chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. So what you're going to do now is we're going to be doing the granny stitch around. So we're going to double crochet in the next 2. 1, 2. And that will give us 3 double crochets. We're going to chain 2. We're going to skip the next 2. 1, 2. And then we'll double crochet in the next 3. 1, 2, 3. Chain 2, skip 2, and double crochet in the next 3 double crochet stitches. And see how that's already pulling in even more? That's starting to form the top portion of our hat, of course. 1, 2 chains, skip 2, 1 double crochet in the next 3. 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to repeat this all the way around this row. One double crochet in the next 3, chain 2, skip 2 double crochets, and then 1 double crochet in the next 3, all the way around, and join back to our chain 3. So I have completed row 6, 3 double crochets, chain 2, skip 2, all the way around. You'll end with a chain 2, then we'll join to our chain 3 with a slip stitch, and then you're going to slip stitch in the next 2 double crochets, slip stitch in the chain 2 space, and chain 3. All right, and now you're going to have 12 sets of our 3 double crochets, chain 2, all the way around. You can see it's already pulling down the way that we want our hat to go. All right, now for row 7, we've already double crocheted, which is our chain 3, and then we'll stitch 2 double crochets in that chain 2 space. We'll chain 2, go to the next chain 2 space, and stitch 3 double crochets. We'll chain 2, go to the next chain 2 space, and stitch 3 double crochets. Now we're doing our double crochet granny stitches. Chain 2, 3 double crochets, and we'll do this in each of our chain 2 spaces all the way around our row. And then we'll join back to our chain 3 just like we did on that previous row. So I have completed row 7. You can see we did 3 double crochets in our chain 2 spaces, chain 2 all the way around, And again, we have 12 sets. All right, so we're ending with our chain 2. We're going to join to our chain 3 with a slip stitch in the next 2 double crochets, then slip stitch in that chain 2 space and chain 3. All right, and so now what you're going to do for 3 more rows, row 8, row 9, and row 10, is you're just going to repeat what you did on row 7, so that we have 5 rows of our granny stitch pattern. All right, so we're going to repeat row 7 for 3 more rows. So I have now completed those 5 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of granny square stitches. And now we're going to go back to just a regular row of double crochet. All right, so we joined to our chain 3 and we slip stitched. And instead of slip stitching over to the chain 2 space, we're just going to chain 3. And then we'll place a double crochet in those 2 double crochets. Then we'll stitch 2 double crochets in the chain 2 space. 1 double crochet in the next 3 double crochets. And 2 double crochets in the chain 2 space. And we'll just repeat this all the way around for a solid row of double crochet all the way around our hat. One double crochet in the next 3 double crochets, 2 double crochets in each of the chain 2 spaces, and then we'll join back to our beginning chain 3. This will give us a nice solid row of double crochets around our hat. I have completed row 11. We stitched a double crochet in each of the double crochets, 2 double crochets in each of the chain 2 spaces, so we're back to 60 stitches. All right, so I'm going to join to my chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. All right, now for row 12, we're just going to repeat what we just did. And we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in each of the double crochet stitches around. And I'm just going to stitch 1 more row of a solid double crochet. If you want your hat to be a little bit more of a slouchy hat, making it a little bit longer, you can add another additional row or maybe 2 additional rows, depending on how much slouch you want in your slouchy hat. This does make a nice slouchy hat. The yarn is good for that, and also the pattern. And so it will work out just fine if you want to add an additional row or 2 of the solid row of double crochet to make your hat just a little bit more slouchy. All right, I'm just going to be adding the 1 row because I'm not making it slouchy. And so I'm just stitching 1 double crochet in each of my double crochets around, and then I'll join back to my chain 3. I have completed row 12, and again, if you want this hat to be a little more slouchy, you can add an additional row or 2 of the solid. All right, now the last row that we're going to do is a row of single crochet. So we joined to our chain 3 with a slip stitch, and we only chained 1. All right, and now this last row, we're just going to add 1 single crochet to each of our double crochets around. And this row of single crochet is just going to pull it in just a little bit and just help it hold its shape around the edge of that hat. So 1 single crochet in each of the double crochets all the way around for our last row, and then we'll join back to that first single crochet with a slip stitch. All right. All right, so I have stitched that row of single crochet all the way around the edge. I'm going to cut my yarn. We'll go in that next loop and pull that loop to the back so we have a nice finish. So it looks nice and neat. And then I'll grab my needle and weave this in. Now, you can add a pom-pom if you want to. You can add buttons if you want to. And I actually picked out a couple of buttons over there. I wasn't going to put buttons on, but I think I might put a button or two. And let me show you what I've got picked out. I know I said I wasn't going to put any buttons on it, but I picked out these 3 buttons. They're really cute. This is a little sun, and I thought it kind of matched with some of this teal. And then I found this orange star, and I thought it matched with some of this. And then I found this pretty pink flower. And I can't decide what I want to do, so I'm thinking I'm going to just do these 2. I think they're fun. All right, so I put some yarn on here, and we want to make sure that when we add our buttons, they are in some stitches and not in some holes. And so I'm thinking I'm going to put them right here. All right, so I'm going to kind of go in here, going to go up through the stitch, and I'm going to make a loop. And this makes it so it has a nice sturdy place for that button to be. All right. And I'm going to grab this little sun button. It's super cute. I don't know where I got it. I just have it in my yarn stash. And I think it's perfect for spring and summer. All right. And then I'll just go through that a couple of times. Make sure that's on there nice and secure. Going through fibers of the yarn. Alrighty. I'm going to go through that little loop on the back there. I'm going to take my crochet hook and pull this yarn here to the back. That was the beginning piece. And then I'll bring this one to the back. Okay, and so we're right here, and I'll just tie a knot. Now I'm going to add a second button. So I'm not going to cut off my yarn. I'm going to make 3 knots, and I'll cut off the short end. And then I'll put this yarn with the long end back on my needle, because I'm going to place the flower button right here next to it, kind of at an angle. And so I'm going to come back up and make that loop going through the yarn. And this one is going to kind of sit at an angle here, so it's right next to it. And I really like that. I think it looks cute. And you can do wooden buttons if I really like wooden buttons. And you can do wooden buttons if you want to. The key to getting your button to stay on is to make that beginning loop and make sure when you're sewing it on, you're going through the fibers of a stitch. Okay, now I'm going to go to the back here. I'm going to make sure I'm going through some of those fibers. Okay, and then I'm just going to go like this. I've got my thumb on that loop because I'm going to make it into a knot. Hold on that button. I probably could have started with a longer tail of yarn. That would help this portion. Making sure it's nice and secure, and then just clip those. And I actually really like that. I don't think I need the star button. I think that would just be too much. But you could add it if you wanted to. Just get in your button stash, because if you're like me, you got a bunch of buttons. But I love this one. It's a little sun with sunglasses on, and then that flower. And I think it works great with all the colors in this hat. All right. So that's our Cozy Granny spring hat that works great for the changing of the seasons. I love it.